For these 6 individuals, the pursuit of online validation became a deadly obsession. From rooftop photo shoots to cosmetic surgery disasters, these are the stories of Instagram models whose quest for the perfect image led to their tragic deaths. It was April 14th, 2017, and the spring afternoon sun cast long shadows across the abandoned railway bridge that stretched over the Susquehanna River in central Pennsylvania. The rusted steel structure had been out of service for over 2 decades, its weathered tracks serving as a magnet for urban explorers drawn to its scenic river views 80 feet below. Dylan Martinez adjusted his phone's camera settings as he surveyed the narrow railway bridge, his heart racing with excitement and fear. At 19, the aspiring Instagram model had built a modest following by mixing lifestyle shots with dangerous stunts filmed for his reels and stories. His videos of abandoned buildings and railway infrastructure regularly earned thousands of views, generating enough ad revenue to support his nomadic lifestyle. Dylan's rise to internet fame had begun 8 months earlier, when a video of him climbing a cell phone tower went viral, earning him his first real wave of followers overnight. The success had been intoxicating, leading him to seek out more dangerous locations to maintain his audience's attention. His girlfriend Sarah had repeatedly begged him to stop the dangerous content, and his parents had threatened to cut off his phone plan. But Dylan was addicted to both the adrenaline rush and the growing fame. The pressure to create increasingly spectacular content had led Dylan to scout the abandoned railway bridge for weeks, planning camera angles for what he intended to be his most ambitious video yet. The bridge's narrow walkway, with no safety railings and gaps between railroad ties, would require perfect balance to cross safely while filming. The structure had been long decommissioned, with its original guardrails rusted away or removed during years of neglect, leaving only exposed beams and open air on either side. Dylan had been obsessively checking weather reports, knowing that wind conditions could make or break his attempt. That afternoon, Dylan set up his phone to record as he attempted to walk the entire 200-foot length of the bridge, while balancing on the narrow steel rail. He had deliberately chosen not to use any safety equipment, knowing that his audience expected the authentic danger that had made him famous. The wind that afternoon reached gusts of around 25 to 30 miles per hour, enough to make the narrow rail shudder, and the treetops below sway in uneven rhythm. Dylan began his crossing by explaining the challenge to his camera, walking his viewers through the dangers of the 80-foot drop to the rocky riverbank below. He started confidently, his arms extended for balance as he placed one foot carefully in front of the other on the narrow steel rail. However, as he reached the midpoint of the bridge, a sudden gust of wind threw off his balance just as he stepped over a gap between railroad ties. Dylan's left foot slipped on the weathered steel, and his momentum carried him sideways off the narrow rail. The phone continued recording as he fell, capturing his terrified scream as he plummeted 80 feet into the shallow water and rocks below. The impact was devastating, and Dylan died instantly from massive trauma. Dylan had been streaming live to his Instagram account, and the feed continued for several seconds after he slipped before cutting to static. His phone and tripod were later found lodged between rocks near the riverbank, the device still recording locally when rescuers arrived. Investigators discovered that Dylan had posted on Instagram just hours before expressing nervousness but excitement about his biggest challenge yet, a detail that sparked endless speculation about whether he had sensed the danger but felt pressured to proceed anyway. It was July 8, 2016, and the golden hour light streamed through the windows of a luxury penthouse overlooking downtown Miami, casting perfect shadows for the photo shoot that would change everything. The 32nd floor apartment had been rented specifically for its stunning city views that provided the backdrop every Instagram model craved. Sophia Kim adjusted her flowing white dress as she positioned herself near the open balcony door, her heart racing with excitement about the shoot that could finally push her follower count over the 10,000 milestone. At 22, the aspiring Instagram model had been struggling to break through in the oversaturated Miami influencer scene, where her followers felt insignificant compared to established models who dominated the city's social media landscape. Sophia's journey into Instagram modeling had begun 6 months earlier when she moved to Miami from Ohio. Drawn by endless opportunities for content creation, she had been working multiple part-time jobs to afford the expensive lifestyle required, often spending her entire paycheck on designer outfits and professional photography that would make her content stand out from thousands of other hopeful models flooding the platform. The pressure to create increasingly dramatic content had led Sophia to seek out dangerous locations for her shoots. She had been following successful models who regularly posted photos from precarious positions on rooftops and high-rise balconies, noting how these risky shots consistently received the most engagement. Marky Williams, a 28-year-old photographer who specialized in high-risk Instagram content, had been pushing Sophia to take more daring poses. He had built his reputation by capturing models in increasingly dangerous situations, with his portfolio filled with shots of influencers balancing beyond railings or perched on building edges. That afternoon, Marky directed Sophia to climb over the glass balcony railing and step onto the narrow outer ledge, just a few inches wide, on the other side. It was never meant to be walked on, only meant for maintenance workers with harnesses. 32 stories below, traffic moved steadily through downtown Miami. Marky assured her that standing there for just a few seconds would make for a viral shot. Sophia hesitated, but ultimately agreed, trying to keep her balance in heels as she positioned herself against the skyline backdrop. As Marky captured shot after shot, a sudden gust of wind from the ocean caught her flowing white dress, twisting it around her legs. She tried to steady herself but slipped forward, unable to regain her footing before falling over the edge. Sophia fell 32 stories to the street below, her body striking the pavement in front of horrified pedestrians. The impact was instantaneous and fatal, ending her dreams of Instagram fame tragically. Marky had captured the entire sequence on his camera. The photographer was later charged with involuntary manslaughter after investigators determined he had directed Sophia to stand on the unsafe ledge for the shot. Investigators also discovered that Sophia had texted her sister just hours before the shoot, expressing nervousness about the dangerous poses, but saying she felt she had no choice if she wanted to compete with other Miami influencers. It was March 15, 2016, and the late afternoon sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of a makeshift medical facility in Tijuana, Mexico, just 20 miles south of the San Diego border. The converted warehouse had been disguised as a legitimate cosmetic surgery clinic, complete with professional-looking equipment and certificates that would later prove to be forgeries. Isabella Rodriguez adjusted her hospital gown nervously as she reviewed the procedures she had scheduled for that day, her phone buzzing constantly with messages from her Instagram followers who had been eagerly awaiting her transformation journey. At 24, the aspiring Instagram model from Phoenix had spent months saving money from her retail job to afford the Brazilian butt lift and breast augmentation that she believed would finally give her the curves needed to compete with other influencers in the oversaturated fitness and lifestyle space. Isabella's obsession with achieving the perfect Instagram body had begun 2 years earlier when she started posting workout videos and lifestyle content, but her naturally slim frame struggled to gain the attention that curvier influencers received effortlessly. She had watched as accounts with similar content, but more dramatic physiques, gained thousands of followers while her growth remained stagnant. The pressure to transform her body had consumed her thoughts, leading her to research cosmetic surgery options that would be affordable on her limited budget. Her decision to travel to Mexico for surgery had been driven purely by cost, as the procedures she wanted would have cost over $15,000 in the United States compared to the $4,500 package deal offered by the Tijuana clinic. Isabella had found the facility through Instagram ads targeting young women interested in cosmetic surgery, and the before and after photos posted by the clinic had convinced her that the results would be worth the risk. She had ignored warnings from friends about medical tourism and dismissed online reviews that questioned the clinic's legitimacy. The clinic had promised Isabella that both procedures could be completed in a single day by their experienced surgeon, Dr. Martinez, whose credentials would later be discovered as completely fabricated. The facility lacked proper medical equipment, sterile conditions, and emergency protocols that legitimate surgical centers required. That afternoon, Isabella was wheeled into the operating room where the unlicensed practitioner began the Brazilian butt lift procedure, which involved removing fat from her abdomen and injecting it into her buttocks. During the fat transfer process, the inexperienced surgeon accidentally injected fat directly into Isabella's bloodstream, causing a fatal fat embolism that blocked blood flow to her lungs and heart. The clinic had no emergency equipment or trained staff to handle the life-threatening complication. Isabella went into cardiac arrest on the operating table as the fat embolism traveled through her circulatory system. The facility's attempts at resuscitation were futile, as they lacked proper emergency medications and equipment. She died within minutes of the complication, her dreams of Instagram fame ending in a sterile room thousands of miles from home. The illegal clinic attempted to cover up Isabella's death by disposing of evidence and claiming she had never been a patient, but her family's investigation led to the discovery of her body and the shutdown of the facility. The unlicensed surgeon had already fled Mexico to avoid prosecution. Isabella's final Instagram post, uploaded just hours before her surgery, showed her excitement about her upcoming transformation and included the hashtag #NewMe, a tragic reminder of the deadly lengths some will go to achieve social media perfection. It was October 3rd, 2015, and the late afternoon sun filtered through the windows of a trendy coffee shop in downtown Portland, Oregon, where the Saturday crowd of young professionals and artists created the perfect backdrop for social media content. The exposed brick walls and vintage lighting had made the location a favorite among local influencers, seeking the perfect aesthetic for their Instagram posts. Alexis Kim positioned her laptop and iced latte carefully on the rustic wooden table, adjusting the angle to capture the golden hour lighting that would make her lifestyle content pop on her followers' feeds. At 24, the aspiring Instagram model had been steadily building her online presence with her growing followers who engaged with her carefully curated posts about fashion, fitness, and her daily life in the Pacific Northwest. Alexis had been documenting her journey from small-town girl to city influencer for over a year, sharing everything from her morning routines to her weekend adventures around Portland. Her authentic personality and girl-next-door appeal had attracted a dedicated following of supporters who felt personally invested in her success. She regularly responded to comments and direct messages, building genuine connections with her audience that set her apart from more distant influencers. What Alexis didn't know was that one of her most active followers had been meticulously studying every detail of her posts, using the location tags and background details to map out her daily routines and favorite spots around the city. Marcus Thompson, a 31-year-old warehouse worker from nearby Beaverton, had been obsessively following her content for 8 months, creating elaborate fantasies about their future relationship based on her friendly responses to his comments. Marcus had started innocuously enough, liking her posts and leaving supportive comments that Alexis had appreciated during her early days of building her following. However, his behavior had gradually escalated as he began creating multiple fake accounts to interact with her content and started showing up at locations she had posted about, hoping to engineer chance encounters that never materialized into the romantic connection he had imagined. The situation had reached a dangerous turning point when Alexis had started dating someone new, posting photos with her boyfriend that sent Marcus into a spiral of jealousy and rage. He had been sending increasingly aggressive direct messages from various accounts, which Alexis had been blocking without fully understanding the extent of his obsession or the danger she was in. That evening, Marcus confronted Alexis outside the coffee shop as she was leaving, having waited for hours after seeing her Instagram story from the location. When she failed to recognize him despite his months of online interaction and politely declined his aggressive advances, his fantasy of their relationship shattered into violent rage. The confrontation escalated rapidly when Alexis threatened to call the police. Marcus attacked Alexis in the parking lot behind the coffee shop, inflicting multiple wounds before fleeing the scene in his car. A witness who heard her screams called 911, but paramedics were unable to save her despite arriving within minutes. Security cameras from nearby businesses captured Marcus fleeing the area, leading to his arrest at his residence 2 days later. During the investigation, police discovered that Marcus had been systematically stalking Alexis through her social media posts, creating detailed maps of her locations and schedules based on the information she had unknowingly shared online. His apartment contained printed screenshots of all her posts, along with disturbing journals detailing his fantasies about their relationship and his growing anger about her rejection of his advances. Marcus was sentenced to life in prison without parole for first-degree murder and stalking charges. The case became a cautionary tale about the hidden dangers of social media oversharing and the unpredictable nature of online obsession, highlighting how seemingly innocent interactions with followers could mask dangerous intentions that influencers had no way of detecting until it was too late. It was January 12, 2017, and the winter sun cast harsh shadows through the windows of an upscale medical spa in Beverly Hills, where the promise of instant beauty transformations attracted clients from across the country seeking the perfect Instagram-worthy appearance. The facility marketed itself as a luxury destination for non-invasive cosmetic procedures, targeting young women obsessed with achieving flawless social media aesthetics. Madison Torres nervously scrolled through her phone as she waited in the pristine white reception area, reviewing the Instagram posts of other influencers who had undergone similar procedures at the same facility. At 21, the aspiring Instagram model had been struggling to gain traction in the oversaturated Los Angeles influencer scene, where her modest following felt insignificant compared to the established models who dominated the platform with their seemingly perfect features. Madison's obsession with facial perfection had begun 6 months earlier, when she moved to LA from her small hometown in Texas, determined to make it as an Instagram model in the city where image was everything. She had been working multiple jobs to afford the expensive lifestyle required to maintain her online presence, but her naturally round face and small lips had made it difficult to compete with the surgically enhanced influencers who consistently received more engagement and brand partnerships. The pressure to achieve the perfect Instagram face had led Madison to research non-surgical cosmetic procedures that promised dramatic results without the cost and recovery time of traditional plastic surgery. She had been particularly drawn to liquid facelifts and lip enhancement procedures that could be completed during a lunch break, allowing her to document her transformation journey for her followers while maintaining her work schedule. Dr. Stevens, whose medical license had been suspended in 2 other states for malpractice violations, had convinced Madison that a combination of dermal fillers and Botox injections could give her the dramatic facial transformation she needed to compete with other LA influencers. The unlicensed practitioner had been operating the medical spa without proper oversight, using counterfeit products and dangerous injection techniques that legitimate practitioners would never attempt. Madison had been particularly excited about the lip enhancement procedure, having researched the dramatic before and after transformations that other influencers had achieved through similar treatments. She had planned to document the entire process for her Instagram stories, believing that the transformation content would finally give her the viral moment she needed to launch her career as a successful influencer. That afternoon, Dr. Stevens began injecting Madison's lips with what he claimed was premium hyaluronic acid filler, but which proved to be a contaminated, non-medical industrial compound the practitioner had been buying illegally to increase his profit margins. The adulterated material produced an immediate toxic reaction, severe swelling and respiratory distress, and began damaging tissue around the injection sites. Within minutes of the injection, Madison began experiencing severe swelling and difficulty breathing as the toxic substance spread through her facial tissues. The medical spa lacked proper emergency equipment and trained staff to handle the life-threatening allergic reaction and tissue necrosis that was rapidly developing around the injection sites. Madison went into anaphylactic shock as her airway became blocked by the massive swelling in her face and throat. Despite frantic attempts to call 911, she died from respiratory failure before paramedics could arrive at the facility. Her phone was still recording an Instagram story when she lost consciousness, capturing the horrifying transformation from excitement to medical emergency. The illegal medical spa was immediately shut down, and Dr. Stevens was arrested on charges of practicing medicine without a license and involuntary manslaughter. Investigators discovered that Madison had researched the risks of cosmetic procedures the night before her appointment, but had dismissed the warnings after seeing the dramatic results achieved by other influencers, a search history that became a tragic reminder of how social media pressure can override common sense and safety concerns. It was September 14, 2018, and the late summer heat in Miami reached 95 degrees, as fitness enthusiasts throughout the city sought air-conditioned gyms and shaded outdoor spaces to escape the brutal humidity. In a converted warehouse in Wynwood, professional lighting and mirrors had transformed the industrial space into a high-end fitness studio, where social media content was created alongside serious training. Jasmine Washington arranged her supplement bottles and workout equipment while checking the ring light positioning for her planned fitness challenge video, preparing for what she had promoted as her most intense endurance test yet. At 22, the fitness influencer had built a dedicated but modest following through her extreme workout challenges that pushed the boundaries of human endurance while maintaining her signature aesthetic of perfectly applied makeup and coordinated workout outfits. Jasmine's brand was built around the concept of glamorous fitness, proving that women could be both beautiful and strong while performing grueling workouts. Her content consistently featured her completing intense exercises while maintaining flawless makeup and hair, a combination that had attracted thousands of followers who admired her ability to look perfect even during the most challenging physical activities. The pressure to maintain this impossible standard had led her to develop dangerous habits around food restriction and stimulant abuse. Her upcoming Glamour Endurance Challenge had been promoted for weeks as a 4-hour continuous workout session in the Miami heat, designed to showcase her mental toughness and physical conditioning while maintaining her signature look throughout the entire ordeal. Jasmine had been planning to perform the challenge in the warehouse studio, which had no air conditioning and would be fully exposed to the afternoon heat radiating through the metal roof. The competitive nature of fitness influencing had created pressure for Jasmine to constantly escalate her content and compete with other creators for the most extreme challenges. Each workout had to be more intense and visually stunning than the last to maintain her audience's attention and attract new brand partnerships. Her current challenge was sponsored by a supplement company that expected high-quality content showcasing their products in extreme conditions. That afternoon, Jasmine had consumed multiple energy drinks and pre-workout supplements, far exceeding recommended dosages in her determination to maintain peak performance and appearance throughout the extended challenge. She had also been following an extreme cutting diet for weeks, leaving her body dehydrated and depleted of essential electrolytes. The combination of stimulants, dehydration, and extreme heat created a perfect storm for disaster. Jasmine began filming her Glamour Endurance Challenge at 2 p.m. when the warehouse temperature reached its peak. She started with high-intensity interval training, explaining her workout plan to the camera while maintaining her characteristic upbeat personality and flawless appearance. As the workout progressed, Jasmine pushed through increasingly intense exercises while ignoring early symptoms of heat exhaustion, including dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and confusion. 3 hours into the challenge, Jasmine's core body temperature had risen to dangerous levels, but the stimulants masked her body's warning signals, and her commitment to maintaining her perfect appearance prevented her from acknowledging the severity of her condition. She continued the workout, driven by her determination to complete the challenge and her desire to create viral content that would showcase her unique brand of glamorous fitness. Jasmine collapsed during a set of burpees, suffering heat stroke as her body's cooling system completely failed. The camera continued recording as she convulsed on the concrete floor, her carefully applied makeup running down her face as her body temperature reached fatal levels. She died before paramedics could arrive, despite her assistant's frantic 911 call. Investigators later found her camera still recording beside the workout mats, its battery dead but footage intact. The video showed her pushing through the final minutes in silence, long after her voice had gone hoarse, an unsettling record of how far she was willing to go for perfection. Thanks for watching. Click the next video for more shocking stories about internet fame turns deadly.